Hey everybody, we are live. Welcome. It is Borino. Welcome to our another live broadcast, coming to you live from beautiful Virginia, Falls Church, just outside of Washington, D.C. This is going to be a really cool broadcast. We're trying new things. You will actually be able to call in. Whoops.
Yes, we are live. Fantastic.
Let me turn this off. We're getting a feed here, but that means you can hear me. Everything is okay. Everything looks to be working just fine. I'm Borino, your coach. It's nice to have you on this lovely Saturday. This is a live broadcast. You will be able to chat with me. There are two ways we can communicate today. I'm sure you're going to have some questions. I'm sure there are some things you want to discuss with me, so we can do it in a couple ways. There's a number on the page that you can dial. Dial this number, then you'll be prompted for a code. I can actually show it to you on the screen. Check this out, how fancy we're going today. That's the number. Now, there are a couple things. Please, when I bring you online and we start chatting, just mute your speakers on your computer so that we don't have any feedback and there is no noise or anything like that. And with that, we're just going to get started. I see a couple of people already want to chat, so that's awesome. There are also comments that I'm going to be checking once in a while on the live page at listinguniversity.com/live. And with that, let's just get rolling. What do you say? What I want to start with today, I'm going to give you some scripts. I'm going to give you some strategies. A couple of my clients, as you remember in the email, I said they have some pretty cool results with what do you do with this whole, oh, it's holidays, we're going to wait, we're going to put it back on market in January, this is not a good time for us to sell and all that. So we're going to address that. I have some tips for you and I want to share with you a couple of things and we're going to start with that. First, let me show you something really cool. Here is how our little 7-year-old daughter, Lily, welcomed me on the airport the other day. I just want to show you. I thought it was really, really cool. Isn't it awesome? Man, I love these things. So I want to share that. I wanted to say thank you to my friend and client, Riaz, for a lovely gift. Check this out, what I got. Nice little power tie. See that? Pretty awesome. Riaz, thank you so much if you're watching, if you're with us. Thank you. Okay, so there are a couple things I wanted to share with you. Here's a really good book that I would suggest you pick up. I really enjoy it. It's called Where Will You Be 5 Years from Today? Let me show you a little close-up of that. Hang on this other camera. See that? It's like a television broadcast. It's pretty awesome, huh? Here you go. Very cool little book. Where will you be 5 years from today? And who is the author? Hang on. If you pick it up, you can pick it up on Amazon. It's just a few bucks. And I'm really enjoying it. You know, there is not even an author on this. So just pick it up. It's like $12 on Amazon. Really good. It has all kinds of little exercises you can do, checklists, and write in stuff. But it's not just like goal setting. It's not one of those standard, oh, where you want to be, set your goals and all that. It goes a lot deeper. It goes into a lot deeper stuff that it's definitely worth picking up. So that's book number 1. Will you be 5 years from today? Let me show you one more book I wanted to show you. Thanks to, who was it? Brian. I think it was you, right, that recommended this one? Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Really good book. I almost finished it. Excellent read as well. Pick it up. You will enjoy it. Brian was really cool. Was it you, Brian? I thought it was you, right? One of the mastermind, one of my students, who actually took this book and sent it to all the members of the mastermind, which was very, very cool. So those are the two things I could recommend to you guys. And with that, let's see. We got Victoria on the line. She wanted to chat, so is Victoria with us? No, looks like we lost her, but there is Diana. Now, if you're watching this live, there is a slight delay between what you're going to hear on the phone and the way we have our broadcast set up through YouTube and streaming it out to you guys. There's about a minute and 10-second delay. So it might be a good idea to turn away and turn off your sound. Otherwise, it will kind of screw you up because we are on a little bit of a delay. And with that, hey, Diana, it is Borino. Let's see if she can hear me. Diana, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, it's Borino. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? We're trying this new thing.
Or is the question, can I ask a question now? Or
ask away.
Okay. My question was, what is the Salvo package?
What is the Salvo package? Oh, you mean the Expired Plus?
Yes.
Yeah, excellent question. Okay, Diana, what I'm going to do is mute you, so this way we don't have any feedback, but let me answer it real quick. Excellent question. Hang on.
Okay.
All right, I'll bring you back, so if you stay online, you can hear it on the phone, or you can just go back to the webcast. Either way will work, okay? What's Dan asking is, what is the Salvo package? It's the first Salvo package. What it is a package you deliver or you mail to an expired listing the first it expires. So when a property expires, or it could be an old expired, it doesn't matter, but it is the first touch, the first contact you make with an expired listing. So here's what goes in it. First, a cover letter. You already have it. It's part of the Expired Plus package. If you have the Expired Plus, you're my customer. It's the very first letter. If you don't, you download it from the website. We are revamping the website, so there may be a little glitch with the download at the moment, but the guys are working on it. But you can get it for free. It's that first letter, so that's one. Two, your brochure. It's that simple little trifold brochure that is included with the free download, and you can also create your own. Just use a regular trifold system. It's also part of the Expired Plus. The third thing you're going to include is a market overview. Now, this is not a CMA. This is not a specifically for that little neighborhood around the property. Don't overthink it. The idea behind sending them a market overview, specifically sold properties, is to just show them it can be done. Your property still can be sold. Things are selling. Properties are selling. People are moving around you. So, as you know, most expired listings, they're a little discouraged, they're a little confused, they're not happy about their property not selling, so they don't know what to do. This kind of brings back that hope. So include that. And the last thing you want to include is some marketing samples of what you do. If you have nice just sold postcards or nice just listed postcards, open house invitations, flyers, anything tangible. It doesn't need to be a whole lot. Maybe 3 or 4 things you're going to put in this package that will help the seller kind of get the feel for what you do. If you have a nice website, do a printout, a couple of pages, how you promote properties, what you do online. So you put this together in a package, you put it in an envelope, and you hand deliver this. Or if the seller lives out of the area, or you tried a couple times, knocked on the door, can't get hold of them, you just leave it there, or you can also mail it to them. So that, Diana, is the first Salvo package. Now let me make sure we answered your question. Did I answer your question? Is it clear? Diana's probably watching the broadcast, and it is a little bit...
No, I'm sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, it was clear. Thank you
Good,
so much.
so that's what it is. Awesome. Thanks, Diana.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Next one. Who do we have next here? Is it Mitch? Mitch, are you there? Hey, it's Borino. Can you hear me? Hey, Mr. Mitch. Mitch is probably watching the broadcast. I'm telling you, it messes up your head. When we tested it with Hannah the other day, it was a lot of fun to watch because you're going from the feed that you see on the video right now as we're talking to the live feed on your phone. So there's a little bit of a delay. Hey, Mitch, can you hear me? Hello? Mitch is not there. All right. Let's go to the next one. All right. I don't have a caller ID here, but area code 623. Who is this? Hello? Can you hear me? Doesn't look like it. All right. Yeah. Who is this? Hello? No. Nothing. All right. Let's try the next one. Hi. Who's calling from 980 area code? Welcome to Borino Show. Who is this? It shows here Zhao Teng. Do I get it right? Hello? Nope. All right. Next one. Oh, it looks like Mitch is back. Hey, Mitch. This is Borino. No, Mitch. All right. So let me check out the page on the Listing University Live, see if we have any questions there. And there are a couple of the things I mentioned at the beginning that I'm going to share with you. Let's see. Okay, no questions there either. Cool. Now, very good. So, here's the strategy I was talking about earlier. Right now, you're going to hear a lot from the sellers. We want to wait. We're going to wait until the holidays. Thanksgiving is coming. Christmas is coming. We just don't want to be bothered. We're going to wait till January. Sometimes they will. Sometimes there is not much you can do about that. Sometimes they really need to take a break, especially if the property has been on the market for a long time and it's not going very well. It's discouraging to people. I mean, think about it this way. they had all these hopes. They had beautiful dreams. They had probably another house that they already picked. Whatever the reason for their move was, there was some plan in place that they were hoping to achieve. And now 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, sometimes even more, suddenly the whole thing just falls apart on them. So of course they'll be angry. Of course they'll be disappointed. Of course they'll be a little emotional about the whole thing. But underneath it all, many times there's still a desire to move. They still have a reason to move. They still have core drive and emotion. They still have motivation, and they still have a problem that they like to solve. Either it's they're getting away from something painful. That could be a short sale, a divorce, estate sale, that kind of stuff. Or they're going towards something very pleasurable, something fun. A beautiful house by the water, a nice comfortable condo instead of a big old house, that kind of stuff. So now, you come in, let's say it's an expired listing, it could be for sale by owner, it could be any type of a lead that you talk to, it could be a follow-up call. Here's a good question to ask. That is, there's some neuro-linguistic programming, some shenanigans going on in there, but it's not selling. Check this out. As you're having a conversation with them, and they say, we're going to wait. Thanks, Borino, but we're definitely not going to do anything right now. Just look at them and you ask them, I can totally appreciate it. I very much understand. You agree first. Many sellers, just like you, feel the same way. They want to wait, and I don't blame you. I would too. But let me ask you a question, Jack. If a qualified, motivated buyer walks in tomorrow with a suitcase full of cash, ready to buy your house, what would you do? If a qualified, motivated buyer, ready to buy your house, falls in love with your house, walks in with a suitcase full of cash, ready to buy it, what would you do? Isn't that a great question? Isn't that a powerful question? In their mind, they have to put themselves in that position. What would they do? Very, very cool. Now, you ask the question and just be quiet. What you're looking for is not necessarily just the words they're going to use to answer that. What you're looking for is also the emotion. Because that will indicate how bad do they want to move? How bad do they want to go somewhere else? What's on their mind, okay? So now, the answer you're looking for is not necessarily just the words, but if they say, wow, well, that'd be cool. If they get excited about it, if they really think about it, if they get passionate about it, that's a good indicator they still want to do something. Now, is it possible for you to find an all-cash buyer? Probably not. But that's not really the point. You're not telling them, I will bring a cash buyer who will buy your house tomorrow. But again, you introduce that possibility, the sense of hope that it can be done. Because if the property is nice and if it's priced right, it can sell like that, right? In many of the markets you guys in, things are pretty hot right now. You can sell a property within a few days, maybe weeks. You can get that buyer, and at the end, does it really matter to the seller whether it's an all-cash buyer or then you get financing? If the property is priced well and there are no shenanigans, doesn't need a bunch of repairs, it doesn't matter. You can still sell quickly. And at the end, they still get cash in their pocket regardless, right? So use this strategy, use this technique. This is the same technique my students are using right now, picking up listings left and right. Because if you really think about it, the window of the holiday is maybe a few days around Thanksgiving, a few days around Christmas. And if it really is an issue for some people, they have a family come over, they're going to celebrate and stuff, you tell them, don't worry about it. We can take the property off the market for a couple of days. We make sure you don't get bothered. You enjoy the holiday in peace. But you can also add this. Last year, I had a buyer call the day after Thanksgiving. Logically, it's a day off. A lot of people have time off. They were driving around. They saw one of my listings. They were very interested in it. So I called the seller, and with their permission, I showed the property. We sold it on the spot. What would happen to you? What if the same thing happens? Would you be at least open to it? Could that happen? Sure, it's a possibility. A lot of people will be off during the holiday. And you can also tell them, Mary, my experience has been buyers who are looking for a property around holidays are not tire kickers. These are not people looking for bargains usually. These are usually very serious buyers who want to move. They're looking for a home and they're very serious. Exactly the type of buyer we want. You never know. It may work and it may convince them. Now again, not everybody will be open to it, and that's fine. Don't worry about it. Some will, some won't. Those that won't, you go to plan B. Here it is. Jack, totally understand, not a problem. Let's do this. My calendar is getting pretty filled up for January because many sellers, just like you guys, want to wait until the holidays, which is perfectly all right. Let me schedule it tentatively for January 17th at 4:40. We'll meet in my office. I'll send you a couple of reminders and my staff will call you to follow up with you just to confirm the appointment. And we'll meet in January and then we'll take it from there. See if we like each other, see if we click. We're going to go over how much your property would sell for, how much cash you're going to put in your pocket, are there any repairs that need to be done? And let's just see if we like each other if we decide to work together. Why not? Your accountant sets appointments months in advance, right? Your tax man, your doctor, your dentist, if you go for checkups, right? They're set up 3, 4, 5, 6 months in advance and they're sending you little reminders. Operate like these professionals. Do the same thing. It works really, really well. So that's one of the tips I wanted to share with you. Use it this weekend. This is one of those things I want you to start using immediately. It works very well. It's very effective. It needs a little practice. It's good if you role play it a few times so you're comfortable with the dialogue. Don't copy the words. Copy the dialogue. Copy the idea behind it so it comes natural from you. It is not a sales pitch. It is not a rehearsed pitch. It is a genuine dialogue where you're looking for solutions that would help the seller. Because honestly, there's not as much competition around the holidays. There are not as many homes for sale. Many sellers would benefit by selling before everybody else hits the market in January. And it's your job to communicate it to them and get their at least give them the information and let them make the right decision. Okay, helpful? Good? Like it? All right, good. Now, let's go back to our phones, see if we have somebody else. Ooh, lots of people. All right. All right, it's Borino. Welcome. This is area code 301. Who is this? Because honestly, there's not as much. Oops, let me turn this off. I'm telling you, I'm still learning this stuff. All right. So, who is this? Welcome to Borino Show. Hello?
Talking to Rick?
I'm talking to Rick. How are you?
Good. How are you, Borino?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for joining us today. Having a good time?
Yes, absolutely. I've had the assistant for years and years, and just, yeah.
Awesome.
I've done what I should with it. Anyway, my roadblock is the quality of the phone numbers in any one of the providers that I've used. I've used RedX, and I've used Land Voice, and I've used, I forget the other one.
Yes. Have you used Vulcan?
No, I've not.
Okay. Okay.
Now, Vulcan is kind of expensive, though, isn't it?
They all will be pretty expensive. Let me give you a couple of suggestions and some ideas that may be helpful to you, okay? You're going to have this situation, this problem occur more and more. Getting hold of the seller just over the phone to make the first contact with them, it's going to be harder and harder. There are some tools and some resources you can use. You can use RedX. That's a paid service, costs you about $50. Works better in some areas than others. It's not the magic answer. They do have access to some databases and can sometimes pull the numbers, but many times they're old, they're no good. Sometimes in the MLS, sometimes public records help. If you really want to get fancy, you can get LexisNexis. You know, it's a search, but it costs hundreds and hundreds of dollars. In my opinion, not really worth it. You can do People Finder and Zaba Search, and there are several paid searches. You can give it a try if it's really worth it to you. In my opinion, the time and money and effort you're going to put into researching these numbers, it's going to cost you money. It's going to take quite a bit of time to get them. And at the end, you're not going to be much further ahead of your competition. So using the phone because of the do not call list and people not using landlines anymore and having all cell, it's just going to be harder and harder. So rather than fighting it, accept it. First, the good news is if you have trouble getting the phone number, so does your competition. There is no one secret magic answer that the other agents in your area have that you don't. Trust me. So the playing field is pretty even. But that being said, rather than trying to do what everybody else is doing, which is call the people, do two other things. First thing you do is go see them in person. Most agents would not do that. You're already ahead of your competition if you just jump in your car, do that first Salvo package we talked about with who was it, Diana, I believe. Just put a simple expired package together. Go visit 2 or 3 expireds every day. It is by far, Rick, the best, most effective, and fastest way to connect with the seller. Face-to-face meeting, in person. It is way more effective than phone, way more effective than any postcards or mail you can do. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay, so that's step one. Now, some sellers you will reach. If you go early or go late in the afternoon or go on the weekend, best times to go is around 8 o'clock in the morning, around 6 p.m. in the evening, 10 o'clock on Saturday, 6 p.m. on Saturday, and 10 a.m. on Sunday. Those are the best times. So if you just do that, it will give you a chance to knock on their door. And notice how the conversation when you meet someone face-to-face in person, it's much more personable. There's a lot deeper connection that you can develop very quickly rather than doing it on the phone. On the phone, you're just this faceless, nameless salesperson talking to them who wants to list their property. When you knock on their door, in your mind, put yourself in a position of a counselor, a guide, like a neighbor helping a neighbor rather than an agent trying to get a listing.
Right.
Have this open, friendly chat with them. Feel it out. What is their situation? What concerns do they have? What are they trying to accomplish? Go through the dialogue. Doesn't need to be long. You don't need to spend 20, 30 minutes chatting. In 5, 10 minutes, you can already feel if you have a connection with them, and more importantly, if they have a strong core driving emotion, if they have a real desire to move. And then a couple of things can happen. Either they invite you in, which frequently happens when you go through it, you say, may I take a quick look at your house? If nothing else, I can at least give you an idea why your property hasn't sold, so you don't make the same mistake twice. Now, I know the beds are not made. You didn't expect a stranger knock on your door. It's kind of weird, I understand. But let me take a quick peek. Just give me a 5-minute tour. And you'd be surprised. Most sellers say, sure, come on in. Okay? As you go through the house, that's the time to really ask those deeper probing questions, where you really want to get in touch with what is it really within them that's driving them to make the move. Because then you can use that later to determine, A, is it a good lead? B, do I want to work with them? And C, are they ready now? Okay? After this visit, one of 3 things will happen. Either you say, I don't want to work with these people, they really have no desire, or the listing is crappy, I just don't want this. And you drop them. It's going to be a small group. Bigger group, you say, you know what, we clicked, but they need a little follow-up. The relationship needs a little nurturing. They will definitely not be ready to list right now. And you can just tell by your instinct and by some of the answers they give you, and not just by words, but by the energy, how passionate they are about moving in the first place, okay? So you put them on a follow-up. You say, fantastic, nice chatting with you. I'll keep in touch. I'll send you some helpful information, something about the market, something about the area, so at least you know what's going on, what your neighbors are selling for, what the homes are going for. And then whenever you're ready, we'll sit down and chat. No big deal. Then the third group, you set up an appointment. Or you're going to do it like some of my students do. True story, happened to 2 of my coaching clients this week. Knocked on the door, had a conversation. First thing the seller said, we will not do anything until January. Hour and a half later, walk away with a signed contract. Listing signed. Not just an appointment, signed contract. Okay? So you can do that. The trick there, the secret there is you develop that connection, the trust. Because many sellers, as you know, if they have a desire to sell, if the listing expires, they will relist again. If they meet a right agent, somebody that they feel, oh, I can trust this guy. Remember what we said the last time, and this is really critical. Remember these 3 letters. That's the secret to your listings, right there. LTR. It stands for they like you, they trust you, and they respect you. That's how we got the listing. That's how my students got those listings so quickly, because they were able within a few minutes develop so much trust and so much rapport and so much connection with the seller. And the seller, if they're motivated, why wouldn't they do it if they find an agent that they can trust, they like, and they respect? Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
You know, so that's the secret. Tools like the Salvo package, the expired package, helpful, but not essential. Because at the end, they don't list with Keller Williams, they don't list with Remax, they don't list with anybody, or because you're a brochure. They list with you because of you, because they like you, they trust you, and they respect you. That's where good communication comes in, your ability to ask the right questions and really listen, pay attention, feel it out. What is it underneath it? What is under those surface answers that they're used to giving to agents? We need a bigger house, or we want to downsize. Well, okay. That is true on the surface, but there is something deeper. You know, you get these answers up here, but what's really driving them? A sense of security, prestige. Maybe it's a negative situation. Maybe the relationship is falling apart. They're splitting up. Whatever it is, of course, they will not tell you at the beginning. You will get the surface answer, but get to the bottom of it. And you can do that quickly. There are certain strategies you can use and certain ways of communicating. Just be yourself, first of all. The more you use canned scripts and these pushy tactics and these, I don't know what to call it, you know, the sales spiel that so many agents use, that will put people off. They will build this barrier immediately with you. But if you're genuine, if you open, you know what I mean? Like have you ever connected with the seller so that it didn't almost feel like it was a client-agent relationship, but it was like a neighbor helping a neighbor? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Now, as far as follow-up,
Yeah.
you follow up with email, telephone. What's your follow-up sequence? Do you have
Excellent
something
question.
built in?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, your business, majority of your business will come from follow-up.
Yeah.
Up to 80% of your listings will result, or transactions, and if you look at your past performance, it was seldom the first contact. Am I right?
That's right.
Yeah, it's about 80-20. Usually that's the ratio. About 20% will come from the initial contact, 20% you will need some follow-up. Now, the follow-up doesn't need to be for years. My criteria, and I would suggest you apply the same, is 6 months or less. If somebody's going to make a move by, let's say, summer next year, that's a good lead. Anything more than that, I wouldn't bother. Too expensive, too way up in the future. You can get more people right now. Now, as far as how to follow up with them, if you can, use all channels of communication. Every single one. There are 4 you can use. Mail, regular mail them stuff. Call them, have conversations with them. You should be chatting with them. Email them if you have their email, and visit them in person. If you can combine these 4, you have a good solid follow-up sequence in place. You should be in touch every 14 days, minimum. Because remember this, you are never the only agent that they talk to. There's always somebody else who's trying to get that listing, and you don't know what kind of connection they have, what kind of relationship they have, how close they are, how strong of a bond there is. Always assume there's at least one other agent you're going up against. So they need to hear from you at least every 14 days. If it's a really hot lead, and if you think they're going to do something quickly, even more often. I had leads. I had sellers, hot listing, I knew I could sell, good seller, I knew they were going to do something within the next few days. Every day, at least a piece of mail or something that would touch them daily. And yes, I had sellers say, holy shit, Borino, what are you doing? We're getting so much stuff from you. That's a little overboard. And I say, I appreciate that. And I can totally see it from your point of view. But now imagine if I'm this aggressive just to get your listing, what will I do to get it sold for a really good price?
Right.
Totally turns their perspective around. And you got it.
Right. Now,
yeah.
Last week I kind of started a new routine, and I figured, well, I would just accumulate all the expireds and check them against the MLS to make sure they haven't relisted or anything, and just go out on a Saturday morning. And I figured I'd just knock them out on Saturday because, you know, if I try to do it every day, there's not going to be enough there in my market area. So I just let them accumulate. Some would have relisted and so on. So I just figured, well, I would just dedicate Saturdays to do expired, to go to the door, drop off a package, talk to who I can talk to.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's the best way to do it, or should I just try to hit them on the day they expire, even if it's 1 or 2, just hit them the day they expire instead of wait until the weekend to go to the door, because I'm figuring I would get more people at the door.
Excellent question. Definitely go after them as soon as possible. Waiting till Saturday. It's just like you said, you saw it in the MLS. Some of them have already been sold. The best ones sell very, very quickly. Don't wait till Saturday. Now, I would go back to those I haven't reached on the phone or I haven't reached in person. But don't wait, because the best ones, the most motivated ones, are already actively looking for an agent, and you may miss out on those. Make sense?
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Okay.
And at the end of the month, when you have a whole bunch of people expire at the end of the month, then you're just running like a chicken with a head cut off, I guess, right?
Exactly. And you will just start accumulating, and you will never catch up with that. So it's better just to do 2 or 3 a day, but you daily make it part of your routine. Daily contact expireds, daily contact FISBOs, and daily follow-up. That should be part of your routine, part of your day.
And then you put them in your database, the ones that are you're going to follow up with.
Exactly. Yeah, use something like Realty Juggler, very cool system. If you have the money, you can use Top Producer, which is great, but it's pretty expensive and quite complex. It takes a while to learn. But yeah, like iExact Contact, Realty Juggler, any of these contact management systems, you just set up a sequence. Don't call it a drip campaign, ever. All right? I hate that. Words have power. You assign certain energy to it. But yeah, just put them on a contact every 14 days or so. You just reach out. You call them. You mail them. You send them a thank you note. You send them a market update. You send them your open house invitation. Just listed, just sold, all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right?
Makes sense.
Cool. Hey, thanks. Great questions. Appreciate it very much. All right, you guys. This is working actually pretty well. All right, next one up should be Mike. Mike, can you hear me? It's Borino. Welcome.
Yes, I can. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Awesome. Please make sure your speakers are muted if you're watching it on YouTube. How is the stream? Is it good?
It's very good. It is, like you say, about a minute and a half behind. I have it on screen, but I have the speakers down.
Awesome.
So that I can hear the conversation between you and the fellow that just called.
Very cool.
A couple of questions ago, you did answer my question, which was my original reason for calling, was Well, now it just slipped my tongue.
No worries.
But, another question popped into my mind.
Uh-huh.
When I see these expireds on the MLS, some of them maybe coming up to expiration, some of them maybe canceled. I'm thinking I should go look at canceled as well as expireds, and it would serve me the same purpose. But how soon after, or how long do I not want to wait to contact these people? I am a door knocking type face-to-face person. I've been in sales for a long time, with over 30 years, and business to business. I have no problem walking into doors and talking to people face-to-face.
Yeah.
But how soon after? Like the very next day, or should I give them a couple of days to cool off? Or
Good question, Mike. My suggestion would be knock on their door the day it expires. Because the longer you wait, the more competition you're accumulating. Just like the examples I told you, that just happened this week. My private client coach that I coach, my private clients report to me every week about what happened that week. And this happened to two of them where they walk in, the day it expires, connect with the seller, walk over the listing, which can happen. Doesn't happen all the time, obviously. But if nothing else, if you're the first one there, you have the best chance to establish the connection with them, to build a relationship with them, to start cultivating the follow-up with them so that when they are ready, you'll be the first one on their mind.
Well, I've got to tell you, I've just came in contact with you and your system a couple of weeks ago through the internet, and I was so inspired by your story.
Thank you.
Because I am in a similar situation to where you were.
Hey.
I've downloaded the forms and so forth, and I'm just barely getting started on my road on this, and I hope to report back to you with some measure of success very soon.
Do keep me posted, Mike. Let me know. If there's anything you need, just let me know. And for you guys, let me just show you if you have any questions. Here's my email. Shoot me an email. Now, after webinar, and Mike, thank you so much. Really good chatting with you.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling. So that's my email on the screen. You guys see that? I got to tell you, after a webinar like this, we're going to get a lot of emails, so please be patient. It may take a couple of days for me to get back to you, but I will get back to you. And to hear stories like that, we all hit our ups and downs. That's just part of this crazy business. Here's something I wanted to show you. Check this out, guys. This is from Sir Richard Branson. I love that quote. Let me just turn this off. Okay, it says, one thing is certain in business and in life, really. You will make mistakes. When you are pushing the boundaries, mistakes are inevitable for you. How you react is important. Cool quote, and I really like it, especially from a smart guy like Mr. Branson. This guy knows what he's talking about. He built some billion-dollar companies. He's been on ups and downs as well. There will be mistakes. There'll be knocks. So to expect that, it's not going to happen. It's all going to be walk in the park, groovy, life is good, and butterflies and flowers and all that bullshit. No. If you push your boundaries, if you start stretching, if you start growing, there'll be other agents that will hit your guts. There'll be sellers that you won't click. There'll be deals that are going to fall apart. There'll be buyers who are going to back out on you. There'll be all kinds of crazy shit that will happen to you. It's just part of life. So rather than sitting there going, I can't believe this is happening to me, and life is bad, and business is hard, dust yourself off. What's the alternative? You know it's going to happen. You're going to screw up. I know I'm going to screw up. We all do. So it's to have a plan in place, okay, I know things will happen. I know not everything will be perfect. I know I will have my ups and downs. It's just life. That's the reality. How you react to it. What are you going to do when it happens? Maybe take a day off, like me, tomorrow. Beautiful sunny day, hopefully, here in Virginia. I'm going to ride my motorcycle. It's a time for me to kind of depressure, clear my head, hop on the bike, and Hannah will take the car and the kids, and we're going to meet up in, where are we riding? We're going to Harper's Ferry in West Virginia. So whatever works for you. Maybe take a little break. Maybe read something inspirational. Watch a movie. Listen to music. Go do yoga. Exercise. Talk to someone you love. Pet your pet. Whatever. But have a plan in place, because I guarantee you it's going to happen. And if it happens long term, if you're really in a rut for a long time, then it's time to evaluate. Maybe your goals are not pulling you enough. Or maybe the strategy you have in place is not working. So it's time to fine-tune it. All right? Cool. Let's keep going. Let's see. I think we have Victoria. Victoria, can you hear me? Hello? Victoria? Victoria? Are you with us? Yes, hello. I don't think she can hear me. All right, so we're going to Vancouver, British Columbia. Hi, who's this? Area code 778. I know it's kind of tricky when you're watching the stream live and suddenly I pull your phone up, so have the phone handy so you can respond. Hi, who is this? Can you hear me? 778 area code? I can hear you. Can you guys hear her? No? All right, let's go to the next one. Area code 626. Who is in 626? Wireless caller on 626 area code. Welcome to Borino. Chat and what should we call it? All right, nobody there. Jean-Marie, our graduate from our Communication Plus course. Can you hear me, Jean-Marie?
Yeah, I can hear you, Borino.
Hey, I'm doing fantastic. I'm having a really good time. Is it good? Are you enjoying the broadcast?
Yeah, I am. My computer's in my back room, which doesn't get good reception, so I'm just listening to you on the phone out here on my deck.
Cool.
But just a quick.
On your deck? Look at you. Wow. Life.
I live on a couple of acres up to the mountains, so yeah, so I'm just enjoying the birds, listening to you, and it's all good. Question for you
Yeah.
is, I really, we don't have a lot of present expires because our market's pretty good. So I'm going to go back to some expireds that are about 2 years out. And so a couple of questions I have. Is it a little too bold just to drop at someone's doorstep and knock on their door, or should I do the first, letter and then kind of introduce myself there and then just kind of make a second visit by just, knocking on their door? What would you advise?
Fantastic question. What do you do? In many of your markets right now, you guys, markets are hot, properties are moving, things are selling, there are not as many new expireds. And that's just a cycle. It's going to come back. So don't panic. There are always expireds. There will always be, no matter how the market is. You can also, of course, use canceled, withdrawn listings, proceed with caution if they're listed with somebody else. But what do you do? Very good question. If the property has been off the market for 6 months, year and a half, 2 years, is it still a good lead? The answer is yes, absolutely. When somebody is willing to go through the process of making a decision, finding where they're going to go for the most part, interviewing agents, putting the property on the market, going through the paperwork, cleaning the house, doing an open house, and whatever else it takes to market a home, if they're willing to put up with so much discomfort, and it is stressful for most sellers. Selling house is not usually a very pleasant experience for them. So if you want to do that, if they want to go through that, and the property doesn't sell, there's a very good chance they will do it sometime in the future again. That hope, that desire, that core drive and emotion that they have, there's a good chance it's still within them. If you tap into it and if you connect with them and if you really reach so deep that you know what it is, you can relight that fire again in them very often. So now how do you approach these folks? Use the same approach. Many times these older expireds are even easier to handle, easier to deal with, because they're not being bombarded by a lot of agents anymore. They had the time to just kind of cool off and think it through and decide what they want to do. So usually they're more receptive to speaking with you. They're usually more open about their situation and what they want to do, where they want to go, etc. So how do you approach them? I would suggest to go see them in person. I'm a big believer that face-to-face, just like you and I talking, if you're watching me on the video, there is something in that connection that we cannot do through mail. You cannot write a letter the same way you would have a conversation with somebody. So the opening is you knock on the door, you introduce yourselves. I'm probably not the first agent here about your house. I know you guys tried to sell. It's kind of a blessing in disguise that it didn't sell. Let it hang. What is the most logical question they will give you? Well, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And again, if this is applicable in your market, in most markets, this is very much applicable. You say, well, you tried to sell a couple of years ago or a year ago. Did you know that since then prices have gone up quite substantially? So you're going to put more cash in your pocket. Have you guys thought about going somewhere else? Is the plan still in place? Is there still a hope? Is there a chance you're going to do something? Have a chat with them, and then you can ask them, what was the original plan? Where did you guys want to go? What is it about moving to Florida, for example? Get them in a conversation about where they want to go. And then you ask them, well, let me ask you, hypothetically, if we could find a good, qualified buyer, somebody nice, somebody who would appreciate your house and like it just as much as you guys have, who would walk in, fall in love with it, and would be willing to pay a fair price. Something you would be happy with. Would you sell? Would you still be interested in living in Florida? Would you still go? And let them answer. Feel it out if that hope is still there, if the emotion is still there, if the desire is still there. And many times they will say, yeah, we would consider it. Do you have somebody? Or what should we do? Or there will be a dialogue that will stem from that. Okay? Does that make sense, Jean-Marie?
Yes, it does make sense, and that's kind of what I'm feeling that that's what I'm going back, because our market took kind of a hard dive, in 2008 and 2009.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of those homes have not re-entered the market. So I felt that those would be kind of a good source for me to go after. The other question: let's say you knock on a door and you find out it's tenant occupied.
Okay.
What would be the next steps?
Okay. One more thing that I wanted to add to that: if you can reach them at home, absolutely put them on a mail follow-up. Just start mailing them information. Something that's helpful, something that's interesting. Use part of the Expired Plus library, plus add your own stuff to it. Just like we talked about earlier about follow-up. Open house invitations, just listed, just sold, market updates, all work really, really well. What do you do if it's tenant occupied? Fantastic question. If the tenant opens, have a little chat with them. Introduce yourself. Say, I know the property was for sale, and I know it's kind of pain in the butt. You don't even own the property, and now somebody's trying to sell it. You have to look for another place, which, by the way, you can help them. You ask them, have you thought about renting again? Are you going to lease again? Or have you thought about buying? One of the things I do is I help first-time buyers on a tight budget find a great home, even if their credit is not perfect. Notice I embedded two things there that matter to a lot of first-time buyers. We don't have a whole lot of money, and our credit is not perfect.
Right.
Is that something you guys would consider? Have you thought about it? Just have a chat with them. Some say yes, some say no. Maybe you can help them. Reminds me. If you work rentals, if in your market it's common for an agent to help tenants get leases for a year, 2 year, 3 year, work them. Mm-hmm. It's not because you're going to make a whole lot of money, $1,500, $2,000 at the most, usually. But the reason you're doing it is not because of the money, but because of the relationship. Because statistically, at least here in Virginia, about the average lifespan of a tenant is 3 years. After 3 years, they usually buy. Many of them do. So if you help them at the beginning with a lease, get them into a house, you keep in touch with them, guess what's going to happen 2-3 years down the road? They may be ready to buy a house. Now you have a good buyer with whom you have a good relationship. You can even give some advice. Here's how you clean up your credit. Here's a good way to save some money for a down payment. Here's what's going on in the market. All that good stuff. So work them. Now, going back to
I also do property management on the side. My business partner does property management, so I do the real estate wing and he does property management, so we don't lose any clients, having them go to another source. That's
exactly. And you would be surprised how many of these tenants turn into buyers down the road. So it pays off to keep in touch with them. Okay, so going back to it. Have a conversation, says, you know what, I understand it's painful, but what I need to do is get in touch with the owner. Would you happen to have their phone number handy? I would really appreciate it. You would be surprised how many tenants say, yeah, sure, hold on, let me get it real quick. Some of them say, no, I don't want to give it to you, you're just a stranger, which is okay. You say, no problem. Here's my business card. Would you be so kind and pass on the information to them? And again, if I can help you guys out, please let me know. I know this is kind of unpleasant, but what are you going to do? Okay? So that's how you do it. Now, get as much information as you possibly can from the tenant. If you don't have the forwarding address, sometimes it still shows that the original owner occupies the property. So find out, where do they live now? Would you happen to have the address handy? If you ask in a pleasant, genuine, non-threatening, non-salesy way, many tenants will be happy to help you out. Yes?
Yes.
Marvelous. Thanks. Jean-Marie, you did great in the class, by the way. We just finished our Confident Communication, Top Confidence class. And Jean-Marie was one of our graduates. Well done. That was a good class. I enjoyed working with you.
Enjoyed the class, too.
Cool. Thank you. Have a good one. All right. And let's see. Let me check out. Next call is from area code 416.
Hello.
Hey, who is this?
Maurice, how you doing?
Maurice, how you doing, my man?
Good. My question is, should I meet every lead 6 months and under face-to-face as long as there's some motivation there from the phone conversation?
Be a little more specific. Give me a scenario. What do you mean?
Let's say Joe wants to move in 3 months. I'm a caller, so I'll call, I'll do the script. They're not ready till about 3 months. Should I still go out, meet them face-to-face, give them a package, and try to set something up?
I would recommend yes, Maurice. And the reason for that is twofold. Number one, you will be ahead of your competition again because you're going to build relationship with them, the trust with them very, very quickly through the face-to-face meeting. So what you want to do is map out. And if you have a chance, you're going to see this on the screen. I know you're on the phone, so you can't see it. But it would be kind of pain in the ass to go see a couple of expireds, come back to your office. Go see a couple of for sale by owners, go back to office. Go drop off packages, meet these people, come back in the office. So you're going to play, connect the dots. So here's what I mean. Some services like Google has that service and Bing has that service, the map service. So here's what you do. Let's say for that day, you have a couple expired. So you map them out. They're right here, okay? I'm drawing some dots on the board for you, Maurice, so you can watch it a little bit later. Then you say, okay, I have a couple more for sale by owners that I want to see. And then I have 3 new properties that just came on the market. They're right here and right here. So picture this as a map, okay? And so what I'm going to do in the morning, and let's say there's that seller Joe that lives right here. Okay, so I have these dots on the map. So then what I'm going to do is hit the road at 8:30 in the morning. I'm going to start and preview this property. Then I'm going to go see Joe. Then I'm going to preview this property. And I'm going to preview this property. And I'm going to stop by this expired. And I'm going to go to for sale by owner, another expired, another for sale by owner, back to this expired, and back to the office. And that's a good, productive morning because you're not sitting in the office, screwing around with Facebook, doing these unproductive things, answering phone calls you shouldn't be answering, all that stuff. You're out there, previewing property.
Basically what you're saying is go see them that day. Don't wait 2-3 days down the line.
Totally, totally. And here's another reason for that. Not only will you develop a relationship with them, but, and I'm sure this happened to you guys, you have a seller who says, we're not going to do anything for 3 months. 3 weeks down the road, there's a for sale sign in the front yard. And you go, what the hell happened?
Yes, it happens all the time.
Shit, they said 3 months. You know what I mean? Sometimes they lie. Surprise. But most of the time, they don't even know. In their head, they think we're not going to be ready for 3 more months. But if a good agent comes in, they really connect. They build that LTR we talked about. They like, they trust, and respect each other. They say, well, why wait? Why not now? In their head, sometimes it also means when they say 3 months, they want to be gone in 3 months. They don't understand that it will take a month to get the property sold, a month to close the transaction. That's 2 months right there, 2 months right there. You know what I mean? So take every timeline you get from your clients with a grain of salt. Make sense?
Thank you very much.
All right, Maurice. Hope this was helpful. Thanks for joining us today.
Okay.
All right, and let's see. Danny Nunez. Mr. Danny, are you here, Rockstar?
Bluetooth phone. Make sure the phone you are trying to pair is in discovery mode.
Hey, Danny, can you hear me? Mr. Danny, hello? No, all right. So we're going to go to Bobby. Hey, Bobby, it's Borino. Can you hear me? Hi there.
Yes, Borino. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. And you?
Good, very good.
Are you enjoying it?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, very good.
Awesome.
Borino, I have a concern. I don't know about the U.S. MLS system, but in Canada, we have a column on the MLS that do not contact the seller after expired.
Mm-hmm.
And if we were sending the expired, the package to them, or we are calling them, or we are knocking the door, is it we are breaching the code, or like how to contact the expired? Then if they said do not contact after expired.
That's a really, really good question. For those of your friends watching in Canada, in many areas you're screwed. Because of your privacy laws prevent you as an agent contacting expired listing. Now, yes, there are shady ways some people get around it. Legally and officially, I don't have a way. You could pretend that you're canvassing the neighborhood. You could pretend you're doing market research. You're doing statistical research why certain homes don't sell. You're doing a survey. I mean, yes, there are these kind of bandit ways to do that. But the truth is, you're contacting them because you want to help them. And in my opinion, this is just my opinion, it's a screwed up law. It sucks. Because here is a good agent who's ready to help, a seller who needs to sell, who wants to sell, looking for a good agent, but because of some silly cockamamie laws, you cannot connect with each other. But as far as what to do specifically, I can't help you with that. You know, that's a legal question that you should take to a real estate lawyer rather than me, because I don't have a way around it. At least not official.
So there's nothing like in the U.S., there's nothing like that, right? I don't know, like, I have no idea about the U.S., but this is the legal in Canada.
Yeah, the U.S. only has the do not call registry. That's the only thing in the U.S. Okay? Sorry couldn't help you more. But yeah, Canada, you guys, great country, but this really sucks. This blows. All right, and we have another call from Vancouver, British Columbia. Who is this? Hello? Nobody there. Hi, this is Borino. Can you hear me? Area code 508. Who is this? Hello? Welcome to the Borino Show. Nada. Okay. Next one. Hi, who is this?
Hey, Borino?
Yes.
Hey, it's Jason from Indiana.
Jason, how are you, man?
Good, you?
I'm doing well. Are you enjoying the show?
No, of course, like always.
Haha, awesome, man. How can I help?
Hey, I got 4 quick questions. I'll try to get through them as quickly as possible.
Sure.
And a couple of them are scenarios. So I posted on the closed Facebook group, and I wanted to get your opinion on this. Last Monday, I went to a homeowner's house, and he wasn't home. So I left a note on the door, and it's a little different, something Renee and I are doing. The only thing the note said was, "Sorry I missed you. I have a package for you. Give me a call."
Okay.
Didn't say anything about real estate or anything like that. Well, the guy calls me back that night and just completely obliterates me once he found out I was a realtor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you had posted on there, follow up with him. Is that a scenario where I should, I mean, the guy was completely an asshole. Is that something where I should just drop him right there, or should I keep following up with him?
Jason, what a good question. That's a phenomenal question. What do you do if somebody gets really pissed off at you? And some people will. Remember one of my advanced strategies? It's one of my videos. If you go to YouTube and check out some of the videos where I talk about direct mail, I would send the first package out with the letter, with the brochure, seller would get it, and then a day or two later, I would send the same letter, but I would crumble it. And I would put a yellow stick on it says, "Please do not throw me away again." It's a great marketing, but the reason I don't include it in the expired package because I've had quite a few sellers saying, "What the fuck, dude, you're going through my mail?" And they would be genuinely pissed off. They didn't realize it was just a little marketing thing. So I stopped recommending it to other people. Similar scenario. A couple of things I can give you, Jason. Number one, if somebody gets so emotional, if somebody is so either angry or they really engage emotionally, it often indicates that the moving really matters to them. And the fact that the property didn't sell is a real disappointment to them, which is, in other words, a good motivated seller, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you want. Those are the kind of sellers you want to work with. Remember that story on the beginning of my book when I talk about Miss Besak?
Sure, yeah.
Now, this is a lady, literally as tall as a trash can, old lady, short, nice, but, just a regular old lady. She must have been, I don't know, late 60s or so. When I started talking to her, you should have heard that language, which, if an adult uses, like I use it all the time. I use a very foul language. For those of you who got really offended about my last webinar where I just kind of really let it rip, tough. That's how I speak. I don't have a persona. I don't wear a nice tie for you and do the sales spiel thing. That's not me. This is how I am. This is who I am. Here's how I speak. We're grown-ups. We're adults. Anyway, this lady unloads on me. It was like a machine gun, man. It really took me aback. But what I really felt was underneath all that anger and all that rage was disappointment, frustration, and a lot of fear, which is many times what these people go through. Now, that being said, it is possible this guy is just another asshole. Person that is always angry at traffic, at weather, at other people. Just a not pleasant person. You know people like that, right? So how do you know which one it is? I would say give him a couple days and just have a conversation with him. Just talk to them. Jason, we can role play really quick if you want.
Okay.
You want to do that?
Can I be the asshole?
Yeah, of course. Now, that's going to be really hard for you.
Going to role play how the conversation went or how a follow-up should
No, how the follow-up should be. The conversation, there's not much you can do about that. But I would call them back and say, Jason, this is Borino again. We talked a few days ago, and I understand you were really angry about this whole situation. I totally appreciate that. But I just want to make sure I didn't drop the ball on my end. Because many times when I work with people like you who try to sell once, they want to try again, and all they're looking for is just a good, trustworthy agent, somebody they can trust, somebody who will genuinely help them, who's not just there to make a buck and get a listing. So what about you guys? Have you thought about putting the house back on the market? Do you still want to move?
Well, it hasn't been on the house or on the market in months. I don't see the point in putting it on again.
Well, and I can appreciate that. Many sellers feel like you, that it just doesn't make sense. But let me ask you, if we could find somebody within the next few weeks who would really fall in love with your house, that would really like it, and who would be willing to pay a fair price, something you guys would be happy with, would you still move? Would you at least consider it?
I have no idea, to be honest with you. I didn't even think I'd hear from you again.
No, I know. I got some balls, don't I? But I felt really bad after our last conversation. I didn't mean to upset you. That was not my intention. I'm just here to help. So let me ask you, would you be better off staying where you are, or would you be better off living somewhere else? Where do you see yourself 6 months from now?
6 months from now, I have no idea. It would have to be a pretty good price to even consider moving at this point.
So what would be a good price for you? What would you be happy with?
What we had it listed at before.
I see. Would you take less if somebody just walks in and says, this is my price?
Absolutely not.
No? You're firm on your price? Now, where did you guys want to go? Let's say the house sells tomorrow. What's the plan?
We're going to stay local here and just pick up something new. Kids are moving out. House is too big.
Is it getting too big for you?
What's that?
Is it getting too big for you?
It is. It already is. So yeah, it's going to be a nightmare.
I see. Have you found a house yet?
No.
No? Are you going to be looking, or what are you going to do?
I hadn't thought about it, so we'll make that decision when we decide if we want to list or not.
Well, Jason, let's do this. Why don't I at least stop by for a couple of minutes tomorrow just to shake your hand and introduce myself? I felt like we started on the wrong foot, and if nothing else, I feel bad about it. So let me just swing by. I'm going to drop off some information. Who knows? Maybe down the road, you decide it's time to talk to some agents, maybe get some ideas, what's out there, what can we do? Because it seems like living in this big house is going to be a pain in the ass sooner or later. Am I right?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. So let me swing by. I'm going to shake your hand, drop off the stuff, say hello. I'll be in and out in about 5 minutes. And I promise this is not a sales call. It's not to pressure you to list or anything. I just want to say hello so you can put a name to the face and to this funny accent.
All right, I'll give you 5 minutes.
All right, cool. I'll see you tomorrow at 5. That's it. That's it. Could the conversation go like this?
Hopefully. This guy was not like anything I've had before.
And
so it's hard to say with this particular individual if
sure.
it can go that way.
And that will happen. Occasionally, you will have people who will just go ballistic on you. They will go nuclear. What can you do? Nothing. Now, right now in this conversation, was it perfect? Of course not. But I gave it my best shot. I want to meet the guy in person because you never know. Maybe I will discover a cool client, somebody who just got really fed up with real estate agents, somebody who had bad luck and got burned and maybe lied to, maybe he was deceived. You don't know. But I sure will give it a shot to find out. Because when I meet him in person, says, dude, you seemed really, really angry. I totally understand that. What happened? Why was the experience so bad? Feel it out. Do you know what I mean? Give them a chance to vent it out. Give them a chance to really share their experience. Because not only will you know where they're coming from, but also the mistakes you can avoid. So if, for example, often you're going to hear this from expireds. We never heard from our agent. Took the listing, 3 months later, called us for a price reduction. That was it. So now you know, follow-up, very important. I need to connect with them when I have the listing to make sure we are in good communication. Communication is important to them, or whatever else that may be. Does that make sense, Jason?
Mm-hmm.
No. Now, if the guy is absolutely angry and you can't convince them, you cannot connect, you cannot have a communication with them, just drop them. There are plenty of others. Don't depend on one lead or one listing, ever. Ever. Don't get stuck on that. If he's a jerk, plenty of nice people out there. Now, here's an interesting question, kind of a little bit of an out there question. Why do you think you attract someone this angry? Just something to think about.
Why?
Yeah. You don't need to answer.
Why?
Just something to think
Okay.
about. Why do you think you attract someone this angry? Why not attract people who are nice, who are pleasant, who are looking for an agent like you? Because I know you're a great agent. You've got this game. You know how to play it. So just
Well, yeah, that was the first time I ever had anyone ever get upset with anything. Out of all the people I visited and helped, they've all been pleasant. Maybe they were a little standoffish at first, but none of them have ever gotten physically upset.
Yeah. Well, there's first time for everything. So I wouldn't get too stuck on it. Give it your best shot. Call him back in a couple days, and if it's not going anywhere, just drop him. No big deal.
Sure. Now, let me ask you this. On the very
Yeah.
next day, I had a similar, well, not similar, but I actually connected with the homeowner. It was, I'm guessing, the husband, but the wife is the sole owner of the property.
Uh-huh.
She wasn't home. So I talked to the husband. We hit it off great.
Uh-huh.
He was telling me they had a lot of activity, but no offers that were good enough. He said they, like you were saying, we want to wait till the spring. We want to do a couple of updates, but definitely call us back in the spring. And it went really well, and I left him with the package. And then the very next day, I get an email from the previous listing agent, the guy who had the house listed before.
Mm-hmm.
And in his email, it said, I spoke with one of my clients. They're going to relist with me in the spring. If you need to get any information on the house, contact me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing the wife, told him that I had been there and kind of filled him in on what happened. So I guess what I'm wondering is, should I follow up with them with all the expired letters and the postcards and everything like that? Or since, they've obviously spoken with him and given him some indication they're going to use them, should I back off? What do you think?
That's a really good question. What is your instinct telling you?
Well, I want the house. It's in a great area. It's in one of the best areas in our city. It should have sold. I want the listing. I don't think they have any sort of contract. I guess the only reason I'm thinking twice about it is that the previous agent isn't the same company as me, so I didn't know if that's something that I should consider or not.
I would not worry about that part at all.
Okay.
Not at all. Legally, you're not doing anything unethical or illegal. As a matter of fact, the other agent screwed up. He was hired, or she was hired, to get the property sold. She didn't do her job, or he didn't do his job. That was a disservice to the seller. You're just trying to salvage the situation and help them. You have nothing to apologize. You have no qualms. Now, you can be diplomatic about it if you want to. You would go back to the seller and says, look, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. If you're absolutely convinced that that's the only agent you're going to list with, I have no problem with it. I will back off. But my experience has been, if an agent lists a property and they don't get the job done, it's time for another agent. Because at the end, you don't owe anything to the other agent, you don't owe anything to me, you owe everything to yourself. Do the best what's in your best interest. And if it hasn't happened once, what do you think some kind of magic tool they're going to pull out of the toolbox to get it sold now? If nothing else, you should at least give yourself a chance to interview a couple more agents to compare. Because at the end, it's going to be the agent you like, trust, and respect the most that will get the job done.
Okay.
5-minute conversation? Sure, just give a little follow-up. You're not stepping on anybody's toes. They don't have a listing agreement. They don't have any legal contract. So you're not soliciting other people's listings. Now, if their relationship is really strong, if the other agent really has a lot of rapport with them, there's nothing you can do about that. Don't even try. What's the point?
Sure.
Make sense?
Yeah.
But it's definitely worth a try.
Yeah, I will. I have one last one for you.
Uh-huh.
In terms of the strategy, we're kind of switching it up, some of us. When we go to the house and they're not home, like I said, we're trying this thing new where we leave the note on the door saying we have a package. We don't indicate what the package is, but give us a call back. And the reason I started doing that is because I found when I would go to the house and they're not home and I would just simply leave the package, I never got any sort of callback, or I was never able to make contact with them other than one time. With this note on the door saying, give me a call back, I have a package for you, I've probably gotten 80% of the people to call me back. I guess, give me your opinion on that. It either goes really well or it goes really bad once they find out, I'm a realtor looking to help them out.
Well, and I understand your concern because you really don't want to be deceiving in your methods. You don't want to trick people into calling you, and then they feel shitty that they called you and they regret it, and then they feel like, oh, fuck, this guy's just like, I totally get it. You want to be up and up about it, but if it works. So let me ask you this. How many have you done like that so far?
I think probably so far just about 8 or so.
About 8. And out of those 8, how many called you back?
I would say 6.
6. And out of those 6, how many do you think you will either list or have already listed?
I haven't listed any, but I'm hoping, I got typical objections. Well, I used a friend the first time, but I don't know if I'm going to use them the second time. I got over to a couple people's houses and I was able to give them the package, so I at least got the face-to-face interaction. As far as how many will list with me, I have no idea. I can't say.
Sounds like this system may be working better for you, and that's cool. Stay with it. Because if you just, out of those 8, just got 1 really upset guy, but 6 good leads, those are good numbers. I would stay with that.
If you were the agent and I called you back and thinking I'm going to get a package from UPS or something, how would you work them in? What would you say, to them on the phone to kind of introduce the fact that you're a realtor and you have information that will just help them keep up to date? How would you go about?
Well, first of all, you're not really lying. It is a little bit deceptive, slightly. I would have a little bit of an issue with it. Maybe we can set it up so it feels better. But the one thing I would mention in the conversation is saying, look, I don't want you to feel deceived or anything, do you? You know, bring it up during the conversation. Now, you don't have to be as direct. The question doesn't need to be this direct. But I would definitely address it. I'm like, look, I'm just trying to help. My job is to help. I help many homeowners like you, and I know it's a crappy situation to be stuck like that, where everybody else around you is selling. You're the only one that hasn't sold, yet you have a nice house. It shows really well. I know you guys were probably excited and had all these plans, and poof, went up in the smoke. So I'm just trying to help. Let me stop by, drop off the stuff. Again, I'm not there to pressure you. This is not about listing your house or anything. Just want to shake your hand, want to meet you, drop this thing off, and we'll take it from there. Maybe down the road, we like each other, we decide to work together. Who knows? That would be my approach. Don't make it a big deal. Because I think if you make it a big deal during the conversation, like you either apologize too much or make it sound that it's something that it's not, it may raise some red flags. Because you don't want to start on the wrong foot. You don't want to start the relationship with your client based on a lie or deception. Okay, that's why I don't like the other approach that people use. You know, we're just doing a market survey. Bullshit, you're not. You're just trying to get a listing. That's why you call. Be honest.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what I would do. That's how I would set up the follow-up call. So when somebody calls us, appreciate your call back. This is what it is. Here's what I can do for you. It is not about selling. It is not about listing your house. Just want to meet you. Want to say hi. This information is helpful. Now make sure the package is worth something to look through. Even if you just include a good market update, something interesting, that's good enough.
Oh, I got all the stuff you use in the Expired Plus. I
Good.
got all that in there. So
Good.
It's a great
Excellent.
package.
Excellent. And then it's just a matter of good follow-up. Stay in touch with them. Because now, because of their calling you back, the relationship has been established, which is really good. That's what you want. By the way, what you're using is actually a modification of Katana.
It is,
Yeah.
yes. I just noticed in the Katana, the letter or the sticky note, whatever the postcard you use, it does indicate that you're in real estate or you have something to do with real estate. This note, I wanted to take that out to see if it would increase the number of callbacks.
One thing you want to make sure is that is cool with our friends at the National Association of Realtors, that you're not breaking any laws by not disclosing that you're a real estate agent.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just kind of cover all your bases, make sure you have all your ducks and quacks in the row.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah, no.
Other than that, it's a great idea, and it's a fantastic idea. You took Katana, for those of you guys that don't know, Katana is a program how to list all expired listings. It's a very aggressive but very precise and very effective way of listing expireds that requires you to go there and put a sticky note on their front door. It's part of the Listing University. For those of you guys who are my students, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, go check out the library. It's Katana 2.0, really good system. So that may work, absolutely. And then I would follow up with a couple letters, yes.
Sounds good.
Good. All right, Jace. Keep me posted, man. Let me know how this works out for you.
Will do. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. All right. So if I haven't talked to you yet, this is actually a better way to do that. How I brought you online, you guys. For those of you that listen on the phone, who is next? Area code 260. Hey, it's Borino.
Hey, it's Jason again. I think you put me through twice.
I think I did. Sorry about that. Talk to you later. All right. So what we're going to do is, if you're on the phone and I haven't talked to you and you want to talk to me, and if you can hear me, just hit *6 because it will put you in the queue and it will pop on my screen and we can chat. And while you're doing that, I will check the...
Next questioner.
All right, here we go. Miss Patricia.
Hi, Borino. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. And you?
I'm doing good. It's always so exciting to speak with you.
Oh, thank you. Are you having a good time? Are you enjoying the call?
Yes, I love all your calls.
Awesome.
I listen to them all. So, Borino, I have a sort of a little bit of a strategy that I wanted to get your opinion on it, plus try to figure out when and how to implement it.
All right.
So with regards to expireds, most of the time the reasons why the home hasn't sold is because of pricing.
Sure.
And so what do you feel about offering a pre-appraisal? In other words, instead of let's take the guesswork out of it this time. Let's get an appraiser in here. Let's really find out the real true value of your home. If you list with me, I'll reimburse you the cost of it at the closing table. So it's really not going to cost you anything, except the money up front. And what do you think of that? And to really find out the true value. This way they don't have to feel like they're going to waste another 6 months.
What are you trying to accomplish with this? Get a listing appointment or get a listing? Where would you use this?
In other words, I'm coming in as an agent with I'm not like everyone else.
Uh-huh.
In other words, I don't want to take a chance and just, put your house on the market. Maybe it'll sell, maybe it won't, because the appraisers now are really strict with the Fannie Mae guidelines,
Sure.
so forth and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's get someone in here. Instead of getting a buyer in, and then sweating it out at the end. Oh, we hope that the home appraises. Let's get the appraiser in now. Let's get the value of your home, of what a bank is going to lend on your home. Let's, get that price. Let's put it on the market for that price, and let's get a lot of activity.
Would you use this during your listing presentation, Patricia? Would you use this? Would you use this during your listing presentation?
Well, that's what I'm asking you. Is this a way in? In other words, like on the phone, can I say, look, I know you had your home listed before, but I have a strategy. It's a little bit of an edge that I think would be fantastic for you.
Uh-huh.
Can I come by and discuss it with you, or do I wait and wait till I actually get an appointment and then suggest it then? What do you think of the whole thing?
I think you're overthinking it. I think there is very little value based on what you're offering, and there's also a drawback to it. See, if I'm a seller and I'm interviewing a real estate agent, I expect my agent to be a complete, absolute market expert, the authority when it comes to pricing. So the moment you come in and you say, well, we're going to get this other guy who will tell us what it's worth or what it's going to sell for, you immediately diminish your authority and your expertise.
I thought of that.
You as a real estate agent should come in and know exactly what the property is going to sell for.
Okay.
You should be very close to the actual sales price. And I'm talking just a few $1,000s, if that. Okay? So the moment you're saying, well, let's just get it appraised and let's see what the bank is going to do and all that, my impression as a seller would be, oh, she's going to hammer us on price. She wants to lower the price. That would be my initial reaction. Not a strong approach. I really don't see the upside to that. Plus, you as an expert will know that it's not about what the home is worth. It is about what it's going to sell for, meaning what the buyer is going to pay and what the bank is going to appraise it for. You should know that going in, and you should be solid on that, because that's where your confidence is going to come from. If you know the market really well, if you know a property like this, that's a split level, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, about 2,700 square feet, that's going to be about $799 list price. It's going to sell for about $780, and it's going to take us about 20 days to get it sold. That's the level of confidence I expect you as my agent to have. That's the expertise. And it just, you know what I mean? So to offer this, and plus for the seller, I don't just feel much of a benefit there for me, other than an expense, a hassle, somebody's going to come to my house again and all that. Where rather than that, my suggestion, Patricia, would be to offer them the solution to their problem. Because this is not really a solution. Offer them the solution. Tell them, look, you want to have that lovely house by the water that you've always wanted, that cute little place, so you can get this sold for a good price so you can enjoy it, nice, peaceful retirement, be close to your family. I'll show you how we can make it happen. Let's sit down for 20 minutes, go over everything. I'll give you all the facts, all the information you need to make a good decision, something you guys would be comfortable with. Whether we decide to work together or not, I don't know. We'll see. It doesn't really matter. At the end, at least you know where you stand.
Perfect.
Make sense?
Okay, Borino.
Was that helpful?
Yes, thank you so much.
Awesome. Nice talking with you as always, Patricia. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And let's go to the next question. Hi, who's this?
Hi, it's Neil Singerman. How are you?
My good friend Neil. You guys know Neil from our DVDs from the Expired Plus. How are you doing, bud?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Great to have you on the call.
Yes. Of course, at this time of the year, I'm getting a lot of people waiting for next year.
Sure.
And so I've been adding my own wrinkle, shall we say at least, and saying that let's get a head start because everybody else is doing the same thing. And it seems to be working very well.
I like
getting
that.
Appointments.
Good. You're getting listing appointments.
Yes. I have one in about 14 days for over $3 million in Beverly Hills.
Good for you. That's outstanding, Neil. Very, very good.
Yes. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm still getting bring me a buyer, and I've used your dialogue with it. But it just seems that some are just adamant about it. Is there anything that I can add to it?
Yes, you can. What they're really saying many times, not always, but often, is not bring me a buyer, but we don't trust you. And this is just our soft way of telling you, back off. That there is not enough trust and respect and connection. It can also mean that they're ignorant. They just don't know how the process works. That no agent in the world would just bring their buyer to a property that's not listed. And it is your job, if that's the case, to explain it to them. Whereas the dialogue you refer to is like, you tell them, look, Neil, I wish it was that simple. Wouldn't that be great? I put a couple of people in my car, we come down, they love your house, they write you a check, we get it done, and you can move. Unfortunately, in this day and age, it's a lot more complicated than that. Not to mention that if we market the property well, rather than just focusing on one buyer, what if we have 100 potential people interested? Don't you think that would make a difference to your bottom line? Absolutely. So let's do it the right way. Take the right steps. Look, you're in California, right, Neil? We're in California.
I'm in California. Ironically, there was a house in Brentwood where I worked.
Yeah.
And that's, West LA, near Pacific Palisades, Santa Monica.
Yeah.
It was priced at $1.6 million and had 41 offers on it.
Whoa.
All cash. We found out that the highest bid was 2.1 on it.
Okay. Wow.
So, here's an example where, I didn't have the listing. Nobody in my office had the listing, but we found out from connections that the person wanted to not list the property, just bring me a buyer. And so I've been trying to use that as an example.
Yeah.
It doesn't work 100% of the time, of course. And so
none of this.
The other thing is that...
Let me just, if I may, Neil, real quick. None of this will work 100% of the time. If the seller is absolutely stuck, I know I got a hot property, it's in a very desirable neighborhood, I don't need to list it to sell it, there's not much you can do about that. And that's fine.
Absolutely.
Your focus should never be just on one lead or one listing. There's always a lot more.
No, I don't. We went on a listing appointment through a referral about 2 weeks ago, and we slam dunk it, but we're waiting for an answer. The woman is in NLP, a high S. So she's very attached to an agent who didn't bring anything on the listing appointment. We heard out from the other thing, so we're not sure what's going to happen. And my business partner is very attached to her, and I said, look, if we get it, we get it. We don't, we move on to somebody else.
Exactly. There's plenty. See, so much of what I teach you guys and the breakthroughs I see when you start getting all these phenomenal results very quickly is not just in the dialogues, it's not just in the marketing, like Jason was talking about the idea of the stickers, using the notes and all that, but also in the mindset. When you start believing, and you really believe it in your core, not just this positive thinking on the top, but really in your heart, there's plenty out there. There are plenty of nice sellers, lots of business out there. There are many nice sellers who need my help, who are looking for a good agent just like me. The doors will open. They always do. I've seen it time and time and time again in my life, in you guys' life. So that's a really good point, Neil.
Yes, and so on. Also, the DVD that I got from you has gone defective, so maybe I'll call your office on Monday and see if we can work something out.
Shoot us an email. We'll replace it, not a problem. You're on that DVD, so it better work for you.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks for the call. Good chatting with you.
Afternoon.
You too. All right. Who is next? Patricia. Oh, I talked to Patricia. Was there another question you had, Patricia? No, right? Okay, for those of you guys on the phone that you want to chat, hit *6 on your phone. That will put you in the queue. We have a couple of questions on the page. First one is from Sean. Borino, this is Sean in Davenport. Good to have you, Sean. I'm still in the next few months in the business, still new. Fantastic. Our multiple listing does not give the seller's numbers. So I drive to all our expireds and try to contact them. I find more times that no one is home. This is using a lot of gas. Would it be wise to leave a note saying something like, call me and have a package for you, or just mail something right away? Sean, you heard the conversation we had with Jason. Give it a try. Give it a little post-it note saying, hey, I got something for you, I have a package for you, call me. Give it a try. It may work in some markets. Absolutely. I would also, in addition to that, put him on a mail follow-up. Start keeping in touch with them. Just keep going. Keep going back a few times. Visit them in person a few times. Start mailing them. You want to use all points of contact, as many as you possibly can. All right, Sean? I know time is of the essence, and I know you're on a limited budget, but that's what it takes. Especially in this market where you don't have a whole lot of expireds, you got to be a little more persistent in your approach. All right, Sean? Did they answer your question? Very cool. Another question from Scott from my old stomping ground from Fullerton. That's in Orange County, California. Hi, Borino. Do you have any good tips for talking to expireds that are extra standoffish or cold to you? right from the beginning. For example, if they give you the silent treatment or show initial anger about you and other agents contacting them. Scott, we touched on it. We talked about it earlier during the broadcast, and that is some people will be angry, some people will be disappointed, some people will be standoffish, cold. I mean, think about it this way. Talking to real estate agents, not much fun for them. If there was another way to sell the house, trust me, most sellers would use it. We as an industry, we as a profession, just don't have the highest reputation. Did you see that our Reader's Digest report? We're on number 45 on trustworthiness, grouped right there with like taxi drivers, telemarketers, politicians, bunched together. So that being said, knowing that it does require some connection on your part, some trust to be developed first, some rapport that needs to be built before you move forward. Yes, some sellers will be nice and very cool to you. Some will be just kind of neutral, and some will be really standoffish, even angry, like you heard me talk to Jason earlier, where this guy just went bonkers on him. Knowing that, give them the benefit of the doubt. Find out if that's their personality, definitely not something you want to work with or somebody who you want to work with, or if it's just the event. Like I told you earlier, put yourself in their shoes. To you and I, this stuff makes perfect sense. The words make perfect sense. You understand the process, all these terms. We do this every day, right? To these people, it's all brand new. Most of them don't know that after being on the market for, let's say, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and it's all quiet, usually towards the end, nobody shows the property, right? It gets kind of quiet. Suddenly one day the floodgate opens, and all these agents calling, and everybody wants to list their house, and everybody this and everybody. It's overwhelming, it's frustrating, it's scary. So kind of cut them a little slack. Your job is to connect with them, develop that rapport with them, communicate with them, so that first you want to get that out of the way. And if they need to vent, so be it. It's not your fault. So you got to develop a little bit of a thicker skin, true. Let them vent it out. What went wrong? What do you think should have been done? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That's a bummer. I would feel the same way. Align with them. Use the connector formula. There's a video here on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can check it out how to do that. Be on their side. Understand where they're coming from. Underneath all that anger is just fear. What can they be afraid of? They're going to make the same mistake again. They're going to list for the wrong price, high or low. They don't want to list in the first place. They don't want to move. They're scared of the move. They're scared of all these salespeople. They don't know who to trust. They don't know who to believe anymore. They had this one agent that they trusted, and look how that ended up for them. You know what I mean? So knowing all this, just communicate, just connect. Don't focus on the words. Focus on the dialogue. Focus on the connection there. And within a few minutes, it will all go away. You can just put it aside. Unless they're just bad people to begin with. Angry people, you know the type. They get angry at traffic and honking their horn and flipping everybody and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Not the type of people you want to work with. And they're just using this experience just to express who they are. All right? So that's my suggestion to you. Give everybody a benefit of the doubt. Give them the opportunity to share what they're going through and to connect. And say, I would totally react the way you do. I mean, I appreciate you even talking to me, and I totally understand where you guys are coming from. But you know what I found? Many sellers who I work with felt the same way at the beginning, just like you guys, and I totally understand. But there comes a point where we all in life, in spite of we get knocked down and it's unpleasant and it's pain in the ass and it's painful and it's frustrating and scary, we have to get up, dust ourselves off, and move on. Because what's the alternative? Stay down? Do you guys want to stay here? If you had it any way you wanted to today, if you could have it any way you would like, you could either stay here or you could move somewhere else. Where do you see yourself? What would you rather do? What would you prefer? And don't worry about the mechanics of it, the technicalities. But if a good, qualified buyer walks into your door tomorrow and says, you know what, Mary? I love your house. I would love to buy it. Here's my price. And it's a good price. What would you do? Notice how their mood would shift, how their focus would shift, how their attention would shift. And that's what you're looking for. Okay? Some of it takes time. There will be sellers who will be ready quickly. There will be sellers who will need a few weeks of follow-up, some nurturing. And that's fine. Just keep mailing them some stuff like we talked about earlier with Rick and everybody else. Stay in touch with them. Give them a few weeks. Constantly. Call them back once in a while. Just a very soft, quick, pleasant conversation. Write them a little thank you note. Send them a market update. And in a few weeks of nurturing this relationship, they recognize your name now. They start trusting you and you start building it. And either they will call you and says, you know what, come on down. Sean, we want to talk to you. You've been very persistent, we really appreciate it. Or you call them and you initiate that. So how about you guys? Would it be beneficial to know where you stand, how much you can get for your house? How long would it take to sell? How much cash you're going to walk away with? Are there any repairs that would be beneficial, that would enhance the value and the appeal of the house? Let's find out. Why don't we meet? No pressure. We need to like each other. We need to trust each other first. But at least I'll give you all the answers you're looking for so that the decision you're going to make is the right one. You're going to feel good about it, whether to stay or to live somewhere else. Okay? Helpful? Yes? All right. Let's see what we got here. Any more questions on the page? No. Do we have anybody in the queue? So if you're on the phone and you have a question, just hit *6 on your phone and we can chat. Looks like most of your questions have been answered. Let's see, Diana. How do I talk to Diana? Hey Diana, it's Borino. Can you hear me? Diana? Hello?
Oh, yeah. Hi, Borino. Yeah, you talked to me.
I already did.
The Salvo package.
Gotcha. That was the only question you had. I see you still in the queue here. No worries. Good chatting with you.
Okay, good chatting with you too.
All right. All right. So if you have no more questions, we're going to wrap this up. That was a pretty successful broadcast. Did you guys enjoy it? I had fun talking with you. I always do. There comes a time where you have to kind of take stock. Where am I? We have few weeks left. This is the final stretch we talked about. Some of the agents will start buying into the stories of sellers saying, oh, we're going to wait till the 1st of January, until January. And the agents will buy into it, and they will go on this mental vacation, on this mental retreat. Yes, of course, there is time to take a break. And you deserve it, you earn it. Many of you I know personally, I had a chance to interact with in the past, and I know you guys work your butt off, so you deserve time off. Just don't allow these stories to disrupt your business too much. Stay focused. This can be a great window for you to either get appointments and listings. People are listing every day. I mean, if you just check your MLS right now, there are people in there. You will see new listings coming on the market every day. Maybe not as many, but definitely some. Why not take a piece of that pie? Use the dialogues and use the mindset that we talked about. Present it as a benefit to the seller. Because it really is not a bad time to sell. Not as much competition, serious buyers, plenty of good financing available. Homes show really, really nice around the holidays. They're decked out, they smell good. So it's a good time to present the property. And not as many sellers on the market. So if you present it as a benefit to the seller, some will go, you know what, that makes sense, let's talk. Some you will put on a follow-up, just keep in touch with them. Perfectly all right. Set up an appointment now if you can for January or February, just like Neil already has appointment 2-3 weeks down the road. Perfect. That's how professionals do it. Dentists, we talked about it. Doctors, lawyers, everybody. So do the same thing. And some just accept. Maybe they do need a little break. That's perfectly all right. But that doesn't mean you drop the ball. You're never, never the only agent they talk to. There's always somebody else who's going after that listing that is developing the same relationship. So you need a good follow-up to be in touch with them, to keep in touch, to build that connection. So when they are ready, there is already enough trust, there is enough respect, and there is enough liking each other. What's the word? When somebody likes each other, what do they have? Connection, I guess. So did you get the listing. That's how you do it. All right. And with that, my friends, this has been another great session. If you have any questions, here is my email again. Let me pop it on the screen. There it is. Borino@expiredplus.com. I very much enjoyed chatting with you as always. We're going to do another session in just a few weeks. If you have any questions about my systems, how to get expired listings, how to convert more of the leads into good listings, I have a great Presentation Plus program. I don't want to turn this into a commercial or anything. You already know my systems, but if you have questions, there have been about 300 some people on this broadcast live, and I appreciate every single one of you being here. I enjoy it very much. So if I can help you in any way, please let me know. This is your coach Borino, wishing you all a lovely weekend. Looking forward to riding that bike tomorrow. Maybe I post a couple of pictures. Should be a nice day. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for being here today. I really enjoyed it. Take care, everybody. Have a lovely weekend. Borino saying, let's go get 'em.